Hi, everyone, and welcome to our show, The Gift of Knowing. I'm your hostess, and my name is OMENA, and tonight we're here with Dr. Coleen Dobo, and we're going to talk about anxiety and PTSD, if there's any relationship between them, and perhaps we can discover the root causes of anxiety, and hopefully join us for that conversation. So, Coleen, it's really nice to have you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And I know you're an expert on anxiety.
Yes.
So tell me, what do you think is the root cause of anxiety?
So I think the first thing to say about anxiety is that it kind of gets a bad name. So anxiety is a normal feeling that everyone experiences to some degree or another. And people have anxiety because it helps them to initiate activities and behaviors. It gives them a message internally to avoid situations that might be unhealthy or dangerous. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, anxiety reaches the level that it also can become unhealthy, and it can start to interfere with people's lives. So a certain level of anxiety actually helps you to perform better and to do well. But when you get beyond that level of anxiety, then it actually makes you not perform well, and it interferes with day-to-day activities, relationships, self-esteem.
So would you think then, for our listening audience, I'm going to put it into very plain language, you can have good anxiety and bad anxiety?
I think that that's a very good description.
Okay, because people don't know an awful lot about anxiety. They just know they're anxious and don't know why. Okay? Now, the good anxiety is very easy to explain it to somebody, how it's healthy and how it makes us do things, or we want to get something done better. But the bad anxiety, that's where people get blocked, or they get shut down, or they get so anxious they can't perform, or they need medication for it. Where do you think that's from?
So I think that it varies for different people, and there are lots of different types of anxiety. So,
okay. Maybe you can explain some of that to us,
Okay.
because most of us don't know about different types.
Okay. So one of the most common types of anxiety is performance anxiety. So it's people who, and it's very normal. So people who, they have to give a speech in school, or they have to talk out loud at work, or they feel like they're performing a task and other people are watching them, can become so anxious that they actually start to fumble around and they can't speak and they lose their train of thought.
They get fidgety?
They get fidgety. So that's performance anxiety. And then there's anxiety that's phobias, which a lot of people know about. So
Yeah.
common phobias are fear of flying. I see that a lot in my practice. Fear of bugs, fear of storms, that type of thing.
Okay.
And then there's what's called generalized anxiety,
Yeah.
or generalized anxiety disorder. And that's one of the most common types of anxiety that people experience. And what's sad to me about it as a provider is that it's actually one of the most treatable types of anxiety. So generalized anxiety disorder is caused by how people think.
I would believe that.
Yes. So there's types of thinking. There's people, the key feature of generalized anxiety disorder is worry. People who worry about the worst case scenario, like,
They're awfulizing it?
They're awfulizing. That is
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
So in the world of psychology, we call that catastrophizing, but it's awfulizing.
Well, awfulizing might relate to the regular person that lives at home, or they're working, they're just regular everyday people.
Yeah.
And they awfulize, that's part of the worry. But the awfulize almost gives it life,
Yes.
or the fear of it coming true.
Absolutely. So many people that I talk to
Yeah.
worry about, if they're having financial worries, for example.
Yeah.
They they worry about the worst case scenario, which is not likely to happen.
Right.
But they worry about it, and it's part of your brain's way of trying to prepare you in case it happens.
Yeah.
But it also makes people so concerned about things that are very unlikely to happen.
That they have no control
And
over.
that they don't have control over. Yes.
Wouldn't that heighten the anxiety?
Absolutely.
And what's the worst case scenario of anxiety?
So I think the worst case scenario of like the type of anxiety, I think is when anxiety is a very physiological experience.
Yeah.
So when people feel anxiety, their heart rate increases,
Yeah.
their breathing changes, they start to sweat. It's an autonomic nervous system. And I think the worst case scenario for someone with anxiety is when the nervous system gets turned on and doesn't turn off. And then people feel like they're in a constant state of anxiety, worry, sometimes have heightened panic feelings.
You have a lot of anxiety.
I do.
I'm asking a question, where's the anxiety from?
I don't really know.
No, I'm asking my guides to tell me
okay.
where's the anxiety
I'm asking
from.
them. Okay.
Yeah. This might get personal. Do you mind?
That's fine.
Are you
Lay
sure?
it all on the table. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So can you tell me, whatever comes to you first, because you were young when you decided to shut down, so you could cope?
I don't know. I was an only child for my whole life, so I kind of never really had someone else there. So I don't know, just being alone all the time, really, I think. Kind of.
Being alone made you anxious?
Yeah, I just couldn't really speak anything or speak to anyone. And I have a lot of cousins, I have a big family, but it wasn't the same as having a sibling and having someone else there.
So who did you become totally dependent on?
My mom.
Ah.
Yeah. So even to this day, so.
Well, it's part of your anxiety between the two of you.
Yeah.
You have this anxiety, anxious energy going between the two of you because she worries a great deal about you.
She does.
Well, she has to stop that so you can grow, and you have to stop it so you can grow.
I know.
Because you worry about her, her worrying about you. See how it goes like this?
Yeah, full circle.
Exactly. This is the personal part. Can I go on?
Yeah.
Okay, the part is that you're so worried about her because she's worried about you, and you want to make sure that she's okay and safe and not worrying about you.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's stopping you from doing what you need to be doing from you. It's not about blaming mom. It's about both of you are anxious, but you're in that loop of anxiety. So it's about both of you have to learn to trust. You have to learn that she's able to take care of herself, because I think Getsenia is well able to take care of herself.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So you need to let that go so that you can put your energies where it is, because that anxiety will do an awful lot of blocking for you in your career.
Yeah.
You won't know where to make quick decisions when you need to, because you'll be,
Right.
yeah. So it's I don't think it's a clinical anxiety.
No.
I think it's just anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So both of you need to come up with some kind of a contract about how you're going to deal with that,
Yeah.
because it is workable.
Right.
She'll grow and be more relaxed. You'll grow and be happier.
Right.
Because if she was all your world, and she was, and still is, and of course you're her daughter, so you're always going to be her world.
Yeah.
But you want to be able to create your own world out here, and be able to pursue what you want to do.
Right.
So remember that. Don't let your anxiety stop you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Or you both can come up with a code
Yeah.
between you. I'm not anxious, or I am anxious, or whatever it is. Yeah.
My dad had mentioned something about that too, so that's funny that you bring that up.
Well, it has to do with, I'm going to go into a past life with the two of you.
Okay.
Yesenia was your father in the 13th century, and you were a daughter. You were his daughter. When we come back and forth with lives, has nothing to do with gender. We come in all different not all different genders, but male and female genders for the experience. And what happened with Yesenia, you died way too young, and she's been anxious ever since. That's many lifetimes.
Right. Many lifetimes.
She had the real fear of losing you. It's unfounded.
Yeah.
It's irrational. You're not going anywhere. I mean, you're not dying. That's what I meant. Well, you have your whole life. You came to do a specific thing, so you have your whole life to live. Right. So both of you have to work on that separation anxiety. That's what you have, is separation anxiety.
Yeah.
That's where the anxiousness comes from. So it's about working on knowing that she's safe and you're safe when you separate, because it comes from that lifetime.
Right. 13th century, right?
Yes.
I have to remember that.
In Spain.
In Spain.
Yes.
Wow.
I think it was around the time, I'm not quite sure when the plague hit Europe. There was a plague, one of the first big plagues that a lot of people died, and you were one of them. Yeah. And of course your father at that time, she was your father at that time, couldn't save you. He worked with an awful lot of herbs and natural healing things that didn't work on you. So carrying all that guilt that you weren't saved. So now, as your mother, she's going to make sure she's going to save you.
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
Literally. Well, it doesn't work.
Right.
It's really about allowing the grief from that time, and allowing to feel the loss, and allowing to know now you're safe.
Right.
Yeah.